Hey guys, Johnny here bringing you an SAO deck tech from the latest game. It's blue-green using cards from the new EB, and I just felt like mixing things up for you guys to show you different builds. So there's no yellow in this deck at all, which is like one of the better colors in SAO. But it's just a fun deck to play. So yep, starting off we got 4 of these Runner Kiritos. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can mill the top card of your deck. If that card is an avatar net character, then he can move to an empty slot on the center stage. So a really good card. He keeps your hand up and gets you stock without having to play more characters. So just a really solid card. Play 4 because you really want to see him opening hand. Next I have 3 of these Xenon assists, 00500. She's a 500 front assist, and when you play a climax, then you can give a character 1000. Actually, you have to give a character 1000. But, so yeah, she's just a clone of the Asuna, but she's in blue, so she's an irrelevant color. Next I run 2 of these 0025 Leafos from the new EB. If she's alone in the front stage, then she gets plus 1/5 power, so she becomes 4K in the front before assist. So a really good beat stick if you don't get your Kiritos, and she's green, so it helps with the color. Next I have 2 of these 001000 Silica. She's a level 0 reverser, and when you play her from your hand, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an avatar net character, you add it to your hand, then discard a card. So early game she's a level 0 reverser, and mid and late game she's also a hand fix, and she's just a really good card. For my other reversers, I have this 001000 Yuki. She's also a level 0 reverser, but she's a clock reverser, so when she reverses her battle opponent, or if she gets reversed and her battle opponent is level 0 or lower, you can send the top card of your opponent's clock to the waiting room and then send that character to clock. So it helps get rid of cards that trigger when they get hit the waiting room. Next I have 2 of these 001000 Xenons. On your opponent's turn, she gives the middle character on the center stage plus 1000, and pay 1 mill 4 brainstorm. For every climax you hit, search X and discard X, X equal to the number of climaxes of avatar net characters. So she's a hand fix brainstorm, and it's spammable, and it's also nice that she's an assist on your opponent's turn, so she's not completely useless on your in the back row. But yeah, note some rulings for this card is even if you hit, say, 2 and you only search 1, you have to discard 2 still. Or if you hit 0, this is one of the special brainstorms that forces you to search your deck for 0 and then shuffle the deck. So you get a free shuffle out of her even if you miss. And then lastly, I run 1 of these 0015 Sleeping Knights Brainstormers. They give the Yuki or Asuna in your middle position of the center stage plus 1000 power and plus 1 level. And pay 1, rest 2 brainstorm, mill 4 for every climax you hit, search your deck for an avatar net. So it's a plussing brainstorm, and it also gives your Yukis in the center plus 1000 plus 1 level, but that's not really relevant, it's just a plussing brainstorm. So that's 3, 5, 7, 12, 16 level 0s. Moving on to level 1s. I have 4 of these 104K Xenons from the first EV. She gets 500 power for every other avatar net, and she has Clock Encore. So she's just a really good card for level 1 because SAO kind of rides its level 1 to level 3, so it helps that we have a beat stick level 1 that has Clock Encore as well. So she keeps your hand up, and she keeps field presence, and she's just overall a really good card. I usually like to have at least 2 of these in my hand by level 1, so I can search it out with this next card, or if I just have it in my hand. And this is the 104K Yuki. On play, she gets 500 power for every avatar net, so she includes herself. So with a full field, she hits 6/5, and she climax combos with this gold bar. On attack, pay 1, discard 1, search your deck for up to 2 avatar nets, and she gets plus 1 level until the end of your opponent's turn. So she's a searcher, and she searches 2 and discard 1, so she's also a built-in hand fix. And her plus 1 level is not that relevant, except for maybe if your opponent really relies on level 1 reversers at level 1 for their game. But Yeah, her on-play power is nice, and her search is amazing, but on defense she's kind of small. So that's why I run 3 of these 102K asanas. It's a 1000 backup, and when you use it, if you have 2 or more avatar nets, you can give a character 1000. So it's splittable, 1000 power, and 2000 power, and it's a really good costless backup. And lastly, I run 2 of these 105K security toes. On play he gets 500 power for every avatar not on the field. So 1075 on play, not bad. It's a pretty good assassin card. So that's 5, 9, 13 level 1s. Moving on to level 2s. I have one of these 217K Xenons. If she's facing a level 3 battle opponent, she gets plus 3000 power. And you can rest 2 characters, and she gets plus 2/5 until the end of turn. So she's just here to get rid of your opponent's early play level 3s, and she hits respectable power, 10k without the boost, and then 12/5 if you use her ability before assist. And then I run 2 of these 213K Machine of Ice Xenons. She's a 1000 front, which is pretty relevant in this deck because there are a lot of level 1s and stuff in this deck, so a 1000 front helps the level 1s get bigger. Besides a level 6 would only give it like 500. And her second ability is rest her, choose one of your opponent's characters, and during battle that character cannot use backups or event backups. So really good for getting around backups that can potentially kill your characters. And in late game, if you're playing Kantai or against Kantai or Little Busters, they have the Money Counter and Compass, which can stop those two. And lastly, I run 2 212K Leafas. She's a 2/5 backup, and when you use her backup, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an avatar net, add it to your hand, discard a card. So she's a 2/5 backup, which is a nice power. And she's mainly in here to get damage off the top of your deck when you're about to die, and that's mainly when I use her. So that's 5 level 2s. Now, besides the reason that SAO has pretty lackluster level 2s, level 2 is small because of this new guy, 3295 Kirito. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, then he gets -1 level in your hand. On play, draw up to 2, discard 1, and on your opponent's turn, he gets plus 500 power for every other avatar net. So in SAO, his condition is almost basically non-existent, and I'm pretty sure it's almost non-existent in most decks anyways, because with SAO it's really easy to refresh at level 1, because with the Clock Encore you're already taking more cards off the top of your deck. With the Yuki you're searching 2, and at level 0 you're already milling through your deck and drawing through your deck and potentially brainstorming through your deck. So already you have 5 ways of getting through your deck before level 2. So he's almost always live at level 2. And then I run 2 of these 3/2 not 10k Yukis from the new set. She is a clock shoot if you play her from your hand and you reveal a avatar net. And her second ability is when she attacks, both players mill the top card of their decks, and if the level of the card you milled is higher than your opponent's, then you get to blind stock. So basically she becomes a 3/1 clock shoot if both effects go off. If both effects don't go off, then she's a 3/2 vanilla. And then lastly, still one of the better finishers in SAO, is 4 of these 3/2 10k Xenons. When she gets reversed, she sends herself to memory, and she heals on play, and on attack with the book climax, you can pay 2, discard 1, and burn your opponent for 4. If they cancel, then she gets plus 3/5 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So she's here because she's basically one of 4 finishers, you could say, well 5 now, finishers for SAO, and she's a pretty good one. Her burn is nice. 4k is not too extreme. Sometimes 4 does stick, and if it does, then your opponent just took 4 damage and you're still swinging for 3, so she basically goes for game at level 3 by herself, going for 7 damage. Her heal's nice, and even if she does miss with her shot, then she gets plus 3/5. This card's just really good. So that is 8 level 3s. And then for climaxes, 4 books and 4 bars. Books for Xenons, and then bars for Yuki. So going on to how I play the deck. So level 0 is pretty simple. If you draw Kirito, that's basically your entire level 0 game right there. He just runs around the stage, generating advantage for you. If your hand gets too cloggy because Kirito's just plussing you so hard, then these Xenons in the back row are nice. He becomes a 3-5 runner, so if they do get over him, he can just move. But this back row is pretty optimal. This one would be okay. It would give the Yuki in the middle plus 1000 plus 1 level, which is pretty nice. The only problem is, really the only Yukis in the deck are the level reverser, the 1-0, and the 3-2. So even if you put the 1-0 in the center, then she would be 5-5, which isn't that great. So that's why I opted to run 2 of these and 1 of these, because at least Xenon hits any character, while this one's really specific, and there's no Asanas in the deck, or else this card would be a little bit better. But that is an option to play there. Generally, you always want 1 of these in the back row. It's just a way too good of an assist. And if you didn't draw Kirito, there is the Beat Stick Lifa. So if your field setup looks like this, she's a 5-5 on your opponent's turn, 4K on your turn, 4-5 on your turn. So yeah, pretty big. And if they're just way bigger than 5-5 somehow at level 0, then you have 2 options of reversers. Then come level 1. Usually at the beginning of level 1, I like to have at least 2 Yukis, just to plus your hand. And search targets for Yuki I usually get, depending on what I have in my hand. If I already have 2 of these Xenons in my hand, then I don't really search for them, but if I don't, then I can search them out. If I know my opponent's playing level 2s, you can get the 3-2 killer, or if you're lacking your 2-1 assist. But what you really want to get is this Kirito. So I would say that these 2 are my prime targets for searching with Yuki, and it helps me that she searches too. So next turn, these Yukis are most likely gone, and then I just play these 1-0 Xenons and just basically sit on them until level 2. You can drop the occasional Kirito to overpower your opponent's characters, and of course there is the amazing 1-0 2K backup. Then come level 2, there's a lot of things you can do, but mainly you want to be playing this Kirito. So on play, he pluses you, gets big on your opponent's turn, then you can push this up, replace it with 1 of these, or whichever you choose. And maybe play this if they're playing level 3s early too. And most of the time hold on these Lifas. And then come level 3, it's basically pick and choose how you want to end your opponent. If you're feeling lucky, you can try for the Yuki. And if you're feeling really lucky, then you can use the Xenon. Basically there's no guaranteed game ender in SAO, because you have a burn on cancel, a burn on play, and then a burn on attack, but that requires a static back row, and then you got these 2. So pick and choose however you want. So yep, that's how to play the deck, and I guess on to alternative cards you can add to this deck. So some other green cards you can consider is this 0-0 2K Lifa from the first set. On attack, she gives one of your avatar nets plus 1000 plus 1 level. So she's a pretty good level 0 for green. Another card would be this 3-2 10K Lifa. If you have 5 or less cards in your deck, then she gets minus 1 level in your hand. And she gives all your other characters plus 1/5. And you can pay 1, discard a card, and she gets plus 3000 and can't be targeted by your opponent's effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. So if she comes out and you pay for her ability, she becomes a 3-2 13K that can't be changed, which is pretty nice. The only problem with her is you already have a early play already with Kirito, and he's a little more consistent than her. 5 cards in your deck at level 2 is pretty hard to meet, especially in SAO, because like I said, there's so many cards that take the card off your top of your deck already. And another option would be to splash yellow into the deck. So if you don't have the 00500 assist Xenon, which is right here. This Asuna is basically the OG and it's the original, and it's yellow, so easy splash. 4 or 3, however many you want. If you don't like the Yuki combo at level 1, there's still the Asuna combo, which combos with either the shot or wind. If you have 3 or more other avatar nets, she gets plus 1000, so she gets 5/5, which is pretty nice. And on attack with the Star Splash, pay 1, search your deck for an avatar net. So she only searches for 1, but she does have a better power range than Yuki does. So yeah. And wind and shots are nice triggers. And if you decide to put yellow into your deck, you can add in the 3/2 10k commanding strength Asuna, heal on play, on attack pay 1, discard an avatar net. All of your characters get 500 and plus 1 soul. So she lets you side or go for exact damage and shenanigans like that, and she heals. And then 3/2 Beacon of Hope Asuna, she has a burn 1 on her cancel the turn she's played, and we don't talk about her second effect. So yeah, these are some pretty nice options. There is one other card in green that would combo nicely with the Yuki. It's from the first set. It's a 2/1 event. It's called Healing Magic, and the reason I say that it combos well with the 3/2 Yuki is because that event lets you look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck and place them back in any order. So you can look at what your opponent would mill if you attack with the Yuki, and then see, since she top checks on play already, you know what you're going to mill, so you know if you should attack with her first or not. And lastly, the card gives one of your avatar nets plus 3000 power. So since Yuki is a clock shoot that doesn't get power, the plus 3000 is pretty nice to help her get over things. So that event is really nice to combo with this Yuki, and you can totally consider it in your deck. But yep, that's the deck, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.